This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Hope you guys had a great extended weekend. Of course, we are here live on the Tuesday afternoon edition of The Afternoon Show. I'll be your host and producer, Logan Landers. And joining me here today, of course, Chris and Tony Gonzalez, and special guest today, Big Glenn. So, Chris, Tony, guys, how was y'all's weekend? Did you do anything fun over the Labor Day weekend? And I know we saw that we had the debut of the Real American Freestyle, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff's promotion that we talked about here on the show before. And just Tony, we'll start with you, man. I know you brought it up. You want to talk about it. So what were your initial thoughts, seeing this debuting product?
I enjoyed it. I wish it was a little easier to get. It's on Fox Nation. It's a streaming service. They did offer a 7-day free trial. I think if you get the channel all the time, I think it's $5.99 a month. So I wish it was a little more easier to access. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was there was one segment there which Chris will probably bring up that we didn't think was real great, but the wrestling was pretty good. Had some surprises. Had Holly Holm from UFC and also boxing. She wrestled her first match as a surprise and did pretty well against a Mexican national champion. Had a chance to win at the end. So it was interesting. I thought it went pretty well. The crowd seemed to enjoy it. Over 4,000 people. So I went pretty well. I liked it a lot. I thought it was presented a little bit different, trying to build up some feuds for later on, trying to be a little bit showbiz. But I enjoyed it. Chris, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I liked the way it was set up. Like the entrance, they had the video board, kind of like WWE behind them. I thought the entrances were pretty cool. The walkway wasn't real long. I like that. It was come out, walk right down there, and moving around the mat. I thought the mat looked the way they had the mat on the platform. It looked awesome, and then the mat itself was awesome with the stars around the edge being the circle. I only had really 2 complaints on it because the matches was real good. I liked how they done the video packages on. They didn't do it on every wrestler, but they done it on like maybe the bigger name wrestler out of the matchup. They done a video package, kind of telling their story. They done one on Sarah Hildebrand, who, if you don't follow wrestling, she's an Olympic champion, but she's also from Indiana. Me and Dad have known her since she was a little kid. We've known her family forever through wrestling. So to kind of hear that video package on her talking about her story from where she went to the Olympics in 2020, was supposed to win it, kind of choked, and then like hell, she was going to quit wrestling. I didn't know that. Like she was going to just quit, and she went and saw a sports psychologist, and they got her back on track, and then she went and won the Olympics in 2024. But, so it was cool. My only one complaint was the same thing as Dad. They tried to do this promo, which I understand. You're trying. You got to be entertaining because you're trying to draw eyeballs, and you're trying to draw eyeballs to a sport that a lot of people don't even give a chance. They had Chael Sonnen, who was on the commentary team, and he done a great job on commentary. I thought him and Bubba Jenkins were both done real good. They were the 2 commentators for the night. And then Kurt Angle joined them. Kurt should have been there the whole time with them. But I thought Sonnen and Jenkins done a great job. But what they did, they had Tito Ortiz come up out of the crowd and come up on the mat to challenge Chael Sonnen to a wrestling match.
Just impromptu.
At the next one.
Okay.
But the thing was, Ortiz ain't very good on the mic, and he was just babbling on, and the segment was out of rhythm. And to me, that's what you don't want. You don't want people to tune into it and think it's professional wrestling.
Right. Because it's different, obviously.
And that's kind of what that segment was kind of getting down. If they had done it now at the end, Wyatt Hendrickson tore the guy up in the main event. Hendrickson's the one that upset Gable Stevenson in the NCAAs. Well, after he won, this guy came out and challenged him for his belt but the guy came out, got in his face, challenged him, and then they went on. Kind of like what you see in UFC. It was perfect.
Yeah, that's all you need.
If they'd have done that with Ortiz and Sonnen, I wouldn't complain. No other complaint. I thought it was great. It was cool that Holly Holm got to wrestle. Like, it was a surprise. But the NCAA needs to leave these athletes alone. Because what happened was the girl that was supposed to wrestle, I can't remember her name off the top of my head now. The day before, the NCAA notifies them that she can't wrestle, she'd be ineligible or whatever. So then so that's why Holly Holm was her training partner and was there with her to warm up and stuff. So they using Holly Holm as a replacement. And hell, Holly Holm put that Mexican world champion on her back in the first 20 seconds of the match, almost pinned her. Ended up losing by 2 points, but for your first wrestling match, wrestling a 2-time world champion, like she had a good showing.
Right. And also, like, to plus the fact too that she took this on so short notice, because it's like I said, I mean, you guys know, being involved in the sport, it's different training someone than training for an actual fight with someone or to be in competition with someone.
And
I commend her for that.
Yeah, she had a little bit of a weight advantage on the woman that she wrestled because, of course, she didn't have to make the exact weight since she was a late fill-in and everything.
Right.
But no, I thought for their first event it was a success. I do hope they can get on maybe a little more mainstream app where it's a little like I was able to get it on there. It was cool they offered that 7-day free trial or whatever. But if I know they're going to keep having them periodically, I don't care to pay the $5.99 a month. I wasn't going to pay it right off the bat because hell, who knows if they're going to have? I didn't know if they was going to have another one or not. But it sounded like it went good. One thing that they did do real quick that was awesome was for the co-main event and main event, when they had an announcer come out and announce like all the wrestlers, like just like in UFC, before the fight. But for the co-main event and the main event, they had this video package with Hogan, like voiceover, and Hogan introduced them 4 competitors. If they could do that, I told Dad I know he recorded those before he passed away. But dude, they should use some AI, and that's how they should introduce everybody. Because them introductions were spot on. Like it was for the co-main event with Hogan doing the introductions. It was sweet. So it'd be cool if they would do like some kind of AI and have him do all the introductions like that.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely could with all the, like you mentioned, the AI technology nowadays. That's something they could do. They might be working on it right now. Who knows? But yeah, I'm glad, we initially had our worries about it. We talked about here on the show, I know, because we know initially, as we know, ticket sales were not great. They were a little bit slow out the gate. And then, like we said, unfortunately, the passing of Hulk Hogan, I mean, honestly, right around the corner from when this debuted the other week or a couple days ago. But I'm glad they were able to get their first show off the ground, and here's to their success, and we'll see what they can do in the very near future. Now, Glenn, I know you were telling me that you were wrestling this past weekend, not in the ring, but around the court, and the Indiana Fever wrestling with some power issues or some clock issues. You were there. You were on the scene reporter. What happened?
Yes, I was in San Francisco. Left Saturday, came back last night, and I was at the Chase Center on Sunday for the Fever versus Golden State Valkyries game. And I get there right before tip off, it was like under a minute to go before they tip off the game. Well, no sooner than they tip off the game, like 30 seconds in, they have shot clock malfunctions. So I've come to the conclusion that the spirit of Game 6 NBA Finals, Pascal Siakam, was with me and was just jacking with everything, and by the time that we got to halftime is when the game should have been already over because of those delays.
How long would you estimate that was?
Oh, it was an adjustment, all right. By the time they got the game the game got back into flow after the third stoppage. The Fever got down by almost 20. Then we got down to single digits at halftime. But Golden State is a bad matchup for the Fever, so they ended up pulling away late, unfortunately.
Hmm.
It was a fun time out there.
Yeah, I'm about saying. Was that the first? I mean, I know the team's very new. That was your first time going to a Valkyries game, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
That's the
Now,
first time being in San
how was
Francisco.
what was the fan base like there? Obviously, it's a new team.
Oh, it reminded me a lot of New York's fan base. Like it's like the New York of the West Coast because they're passionate. You can tell they're passionate. They love their team, and they picked their right city for expansion.
All right. Well, hey, glad that unfortunate for you with the team losing, also with the issues there, and just kind of them prolonging your stay in California. But there's nothing wrong with that.
I knew I had to get up at 4 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning eventually to catch at 8:15 because I was avoiding toll, so I had to drive around the bay for an hour and 50 minutes, which I didn't mind that because I prepaid everything. So I was like, you know what, let's do it. Yeah.
Well, we're glad you made it back home and you're resting soundly.
Yes, I'm fantastic today, surprisingly. So
well, you had yesterday to recoup, so you're fine. You had that day off with the holiday, so that
yes.
I know that was much needed for you. But guys, let's get into it. College football week 1 in the books now. Great to see. Obviously, that was talk of the town with anyone and everyone. Doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, north, south, east, or west. Here in the U.S., it was college football this past weekend. Now, guys, I know we have a lot of Indiana fans here in the group, so I will let you guys talk about your team and IU, how you guys thought the team looked, and obviously what you think they can improve on in week 2, and also maybe just the rest of the season. So, Tony, we'll start with you first, and kind of your thoughts about Indiana before we start going into the bigger games of the week.
I got to see about 3 quarters of it. I missed most of the first quarter because the game started. I was watching the Ohio State-Texas game. But I seen 3 quarters. The quarterback looked really good at times. He looked a little shaky at times. They were definitely a better team in Old Dominion. I think this team is a lot different than last year's team. Again, the coach has got a lot of new players. But last year, that coach brought in players that he was more familiar with. I mean, he almost brought his whole team, I think, from James Madison with him. I believe that's where he came from, almost with him. And so he was familiar with those guys, and they were juniors and seniors, played a lot of football. Now he's got a new group, and he's almost done the same thing, but he's not as familiar with these players. So I don't think they're going to look as good, as crisp as they did coming out of the gate last year. I think this is going to be more kind of a work in progress. I think their defense looked pretty good. The running game looked strong. I think the quarterback will get better. I don't know what I expect. I mean, of course, I'd love to see them to make the playoffs again, but you got a very good Ohio State team and a very good Penn State team that you're going to have to try to get over the top of or to be able to make it. And Oregon looked pretty good too. So, I mean, I think they got a chance, but it's definitely going to take some big improvement as the season goes on. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought you looked pretty good. I got to see most of the game. They were up 27-7 most of that game. The defense kind of slacked off a little bit in that late in that fourth quarter and let them get the touchdown and made it look a little closer than what the game really was. I agree with you. I thought they looked pretty good. I think we have a good shot of being in the playoffs. We do have a tougher schedule this year than we did last year, so that's going to be a little different as well. But I think they have a chance, and I think they're going to get better as the year goes on because he's getting used. Cincinnati's getting used to this new quarterback. The guy played a lot for Cal last year. Had a real good season for Cal. I thought he looked pretty good for the most part. He missed a couple throws, but that's going to happen sometimes. So yeah, I thought for the first game of the year that they looked pretty good. So it'd be interesting to see here in a couple weeks when they start the Big Ten schedule and see them against a good team instead of playing some of these smaller schools.
And they got a ranked Illinois team coming up. I think on the 20th. Yes, Yeah, so they got the Illinois is ranked and they're ranked, so that'll be a good test. That's at IU. And I believe ESPN will be there that day also, is what I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Now, Glenn, rejog my memory here. Are you an Indiana University fan? Are you Hoosier?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I know you were out and about, but what did you like about the team? What do you think they can improve on?
Yeah, I can tell that they are going to improve throughout the season. Obviously, Old Dominion somewhat came to play and stuff, keeping it relatively close. Not surprised that they dropped 3 spots in the AP poll, and I think a ceiling for this year for IU football is top 5 or top 3 in the Big Ten.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, last year was a kind of a magical run, right, for the team that no one really thought that they would go on. Now you kind of going back down to earth, like you said, with a lot of people leaving, kind of a new crop of guys, and obviously the team believes in Kurt Cignetti. They signed him to that big money contract not too long ago, so they believe in what he's doing there at the program and how he's been able to kind of right the ship and get them on the winning side of things. And like I said, they did win. They are 1-0 in the season, so you can't take that away from them. But they did drop 3 spots in the AP Top 25. We came out right before we started the show, so we'll look at that before we dive into some of the bigger games. Obviously, a lot of big, top 10 ranked games, top 15 ranked games this past weekend. So in the top 25, we do have a new number 1 seed. That is the Ohio State Buckeyes, moving up 2 slots. They are now number 1 in the nation. Penn State at 2. They stay put. LSU, the Tigers, move up 6 slots. They are number 3. Georgia moves up to number 4. Miami Hurricanes move up to number 5. They move up 5 slots. Oregon is now at 6. Texas dropped to 7th. Clemson dropped to 8th. Notre Dame, they fell to 9. And South Carolina has moved up to number 10. Some other teams in the rankings. Illinois moved up to 11. Arizona, Florida State moved up to 14. Interesting note there. Also, Michigan, they won, but they dropped to number 15. They beat New Mexico 34-17. Iowa State moved up to 16. SMU, the Mustangs, dropped to 17. Oklahoma, Texas A&M, 18 and 19, followed up by Ole Miss at 20. Alabama, guys, drops 13 slots. They are now number 21 in the nation. Tennessee at 22, followed up by Indiana at 23. Texas Tech at 24. And the Utah Utes at number 25. There's an outlier in there, and I think we all know which one it is. That is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
You drop 13 slots. You lose to Florida State, who at the time was unranked. And you don't only get beat by them, you get, in a way, outclassed, outplayed. 31-17, but if you look at it, guys, I mean, it didn't feel like a close game at any really time. And the one thing I had seen that a lot of either former players or other fellow analysts were saying is that the one thing you saw with this Alabama team that you never saw under Nick Saban's 15, 20-year tenure, whatever it may be, they didn't look disciplined. They didn't look prepared. There were plays where guys they were supposed to be, 3 meters to the left, and they were 45 off to the right. That they didn't know the plays, they didn't execute well, and look, you're going to have sloppy games, but it's a whole nother type of game in Alabama. You know what I mean? You can maybe get away with that at Indiana or somewhere or any other school, but when that is your main sport, they expect perfection in a way. And boy, for Kalen DeBoer, bit of a. I mean, is he sweating a little bit? Is the seat getting a little hot here in Alabama? Obviously, look, we're 1 week in, right? Overreactions are galore, but they have not looked nearly as sharp in the last year than they had in years past. And this is just kind of a rough start to the year for the Crimson Tide. But Chris, we're going to go to you first. And Alabama already. You start the year and you stumble out the gate. You lose you're down 0-1 on the year. Again, look, and Florida State's a good team, obviously. We know that they have good players. They have 4-star, 5-star players and whatnot because it is still a very good program. But it's a game that any other year, unranked Florida State versus at the time number 8 Alabama, should have been a cakewalk. Your thoughts on Alabama so far and the rough start for them, Chris?
The main thing for Alabama is they got figured out the defensive side of the ball. They got a new quarterback this year. He didn't play bad.
No, Simpson.
He threw for 254 yards. Didn't have any interceptions. Had 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns. Like, you can't say it was your quarterback play. I mean, he was 23 of 43. So wasn't the best completion percentage, but still it's about 50%. So he wasn't terrible, but you can't give up 31 points. Caleb DeBoer's in a tough spot, and I think he's a real good coach. I think he'll get Alabama going in the right direction. I think this game was more of Florida State was better than what people were giving them credit for. 2 years ago, everybody was saying they should have been in the playoffs, and they got left out. And last year they lost a bunch of people, only won 2 games, so nobody really knew what to expect from them this year. And they came out and they were on fire from the get-go and really dominated the game. But DeBoer's in a tough spot because of who he's following. Yeah, and I understand it's Alabama, but because he's following Nick Saban. Whoever the first coach following Nick Saban, you're putting yourself in a tough spot because anytime you lose, anytime the team don't look like they're as disciplined as they should, or anytime anything goes wrong, you're getting compared to arguably the greatest college football coach of all time. So I think he'll get it turned around because I think he's a good coach. I think getting his offensive coordinator back this year is going to help as well. But their defense, to me, their defense has to play better than what it did. Defense kind of looks slow. I didn't watch all the game, but some of the game I saw, their defense didn't look like it was real fast. It kind of looked like they were playing in a little bit of quicksand. I don't know if they were thinking or if maybe they just don't have the athletes, but they looked a little slow on defense. But I think they figured their defense out. They'll be all right because I wasn't real worried about them offensively. But defensively, you can't be giving up 30. You give up 31 points, you're gonna have a hard time winning a lot of football games.
Tony, what are your thoughts on Alabama's rough start to the year?
I think the big reason is NIL. I think other teams are getting players. I think that's why Saban's no longer there. He knew how tough it was going to be now because he wasn't going to have an advantage of getting the players over other teams since it was more of a fair playing ground, or if you want to call it that. I think Alabama's not going to sniff the top 10 this year. I don't think they'll be in the playoffs. And it may be a few years before that. And I just don't think he has the players. I don't think the board had the players. That Chris talked about looking slow. They got manhandled against Florida State. They really did. And I don't think Alabama's anywhere close. I don't think they should still be in the top 25. That's just my opinion. They didn't look good at all. And if you was the 8th ranked team in the country, you should look better than that. You still could get upset, but you still should look better than that. I think the board won't be there very long, unfortunately, because I agree with Chris. I think he's a good coach. But if they only win 7 or 8 games this year, I think they'll run them out. That's just my opinion. I think Alabama, it's just other teams are getting good quality players now, and they don't have the advantage. So I think that's the biggest problem.
Well, that and they had so many people leave last year when Saban retired that they lost their depth. Because used to they would be 4 or 5 deep with 5-star guys. Well, now since with the NIL, you can't get 4 or 5 deep with the 5-star guys. And then the guys that they did have, a lot of them, soon as Saban retired, left and went other places. So DeBoer's trying to refill. He's trying to refill the cupboard, and it takes you a little bit.
It's going to take them 3 or 4 years, and I don't think
that kind of time. You don't get that kind of time at Alabama.
No, that's just how the nature of the beast is there at that school. And I'm curious to see with
Are we going to talk about the poll?
Yeah, we'll get about it in just a second. I just want to get Glenn's thoughts here on
Okay.
Alabama.
Yeah.
specifically
I
and
just
then we'll get into
wanted
it.
One thing, as far as Alabama is concerned, one thing that you don't want to do is ever follow the man in that way, whether it be just in coaching or just life in general, because it's never going to work out the way you want it to. With that said, Louisiana Monroe will beat Alabama on Saturday.
Oh crap!
Oh Lord! If they do that, then
And
Jalen DeBoer will be an analyst over here.
Yeah,
I'll call it
and then
now.
they won't be in the top 25 after this weekend.
If
So-
they lose that game, it's over. We'll
Yeah,
never
Yeah,
see
but
the
if they
board-
lose
we'll
that
never
game,
see
that
the
whole
board
team's getting
again.
fired.
That,
We'll never
that,
see the board
yeah.
again.
No, we'll
Hey.
see him. We'll see anyone else on the staff. No, they might just cancel the season if they use the
Th-
ULM.
This ain't no Glenn thinking that the Lakers can catch Oklahoma City and stuff like back in the spring. I'm being legit serious with you guys today.
He's serious. Okay, well, hey Glenn, we know you are a betting man, so we'll. I don't know how many chips you're pushing in for that one, but best of luck, Fred. We'll see how it goes.
I'd throw $5 on it. If FanDuel,
Yeah, $5, yeah.
FanDuel
$5 ain't
has
nothing.
a spread
Glenn?
and over right now, so they can't money line bet just yet.
I would back you, but I said Ball State was going to upset Purdue over the weekend, and Ball State got
Yeah.
beat 31-0.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I gotta lay low on the big predictions for a minute.
I'm about to say you gotta relax a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
Like, well, Chris, you mentioned it. Talk about the polls. First one came out, right? So you can see a little bit of a shake up there. But let's just get your initial thoughts. And Chris, I mean, you brought it up, so we'll go to you first. And thoughts on the top 25 here after week 1.
Well, I think it's ridiculous that Texas moved all the way down to 7.
Where would you put them?
I'd probably have them around 4, maybe 5. You lost to, in my opinion, what should have been the number 1 team, preseason team anyway. They're the defending national champions. Everybody knew that they had reloaded as well. Texas had a new quarterback. You get that? But Texas had a new quarterback. Ohio State had a new quarterback. So I felt like if you're the number 1 team and you lose the number 3 team, I really don't think you should drop down 6 spots. So I think Texas should be a little higher. I was really impressed this weekend. The 2 teams that stood out to me was LSU. LSU looked real good Saturday night, I think it was, or Sunday night, whatever night that game was. And then I was also impressed with Miami. Miami pretty much dominated Notre Dame for most of that game. I know Notre Dame came back toward the end and made it the score closer, but if you watch that game, especially the first 3 quarters of that game, was basically all Miami. I was really impressed with the way Miami looked as well. And Florida State too. Florida State looked real, like I said, they dominated Alabama. But yeah, I felt like Ohio State should have been number 1 from the get go. But the way they done the preseason ranking, I feel like Penn State should be number 1 right now. If Penn State was number 2, they win 55-14. Why does Ohio State bounce ahead of them? Because they beat Texas as number 1. To me, it should have been Penn State go up to number 1, Ohio State go up to number 2. But I also feel like Ohio State should have been number 1 from the get-go. I just don't think Penn State should move down when they done what they were supposed to do, and they dominated. They dominated their opponent. It wasn't like it was a close game and they barely won or something. What's up, motherfucker? Hey, don't press buttons.
Hey, what's up, man?
That is the joys of doing a live show, ladies and gentlemen. You never know what is going to happen. Geez. Well, Tony, let's go to you. And so Penn State, right? They stayed put, right? They're at number 2, so they didn't move up. They didn't move down. They beat Nevada, which hell they should have, and they did convincingly. But I mean, obviously, the main reason I think that they put for number 1, they moved up to number 1 in Ohio State is they did beat Texas, right? But you only beat them by a touchdown. You know what I mean? It's not like you beat them by 20 or 30. You beat them by 7. So I mean, I guess we'll go just 2-part question. Do you feel that Penn State should be number 1 at that point with Chris's logic, like he just explained? And the second part is just, what were your kind of thoughts on the top 25 as they came out?
It's tough because Ohio State was ranked 3rd, and I agree with Chris. They probably should have been number 1, considering everything. But they were at home, And so to me, that game was a toss-up game. Even though Texas was number one, I thought it was. If it would have been at Texas, I would have picked Texas. I picked Ohio State because it was in Ohio State.
Mhm.
So yeah, Nevada's not near as good as team. I don't have a problem either way with either one of them being 1 and 2. I think they've got it right. Them two teams should be the top two teams. And the top 25, another team to watch out for is Oregon. I think Oregon's going to be very good. I think they're in the top 10.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
number 6.
I think they're going to be very good. They look really good offensively again. My question is how they'll match up defensively with Ohio State and Penn State. And I think Ohio State and Penn State, I don't know if they play regular season or not, but if they do meet, it will be an epic game. I think it'll be really good. I think Penn State's as good as they've been in a long time. So I think their offense is better, than it's been in a long time. And one thing I did want to mention, did you guys, any of you, check out Colorado and Georgia Tech on Friday night?
I saw a little bit of that game. Georgia Tech got the win in that one. It was a close ball game, right? Wasn't like a blowout or anything.
They won 27-20, and Colorado's defense gave up over 300 yards rushing. But the big thing that I didn't understand was Coach Sanders getting the ball back and towards the end of the game with about a minute 30 left and 2 timeouts, and never used either one of his timeouts. And when he was questioned about it, he said, "Well, we really didn't need to." Well, my thing is, why rush?
Yeah.
If you got 2 timeouts, why not use at least one and then save the other one for, if you need to try to kick a, field goal isn't going to help you. But, it didn't make any sense, his logic of with a minute and 30 and you're trying to rush down the field. He said, well, we got first downs. We didn't need it. We went out of bounds one time. We didn't need it. But that, to me, very seldom have you seen a coach in that situation not use his timeouts. So I really question that. I just wanted to bring that up about Colorado. It wasn't a bad game. Georgia Tech just ran as far as running. Colorado's defense couldn't hold them.
And
Colorado.
Georgia Tech team too. This is pretty much the same Georgia Tech team for the most part from last year. That took Georgia to 7 overtime. So, and I mean, Haynes King is a hell of a ball player. He's a really good quarterback. He's good dual threat. He's kind of what you want for the modern quarterback you see in the league. So.
He struggled throwing the ball against Colorado, but he ran all over him.
Mm-hmm. But that's kind of the beauty you have, right? We look in the NFL, right? If Lamar Jackson is having a bad day throwing the ball, right? If defenses are tight, he's just not having a good day, good accuracy day. He can run for $150 like there's like nothing, and he can still put his team in positions to win.
Dad, Ohio State or Penn State plays Ohio State at Ohio State on November 1st.
Okay.
The only clip I saw of Colorado game on Saturday was Dion run onto the field and his Depends Porta-John on the sideline. So
yeah, it's sponsored.
it's a great sponsor though because he's at
that
age.
Great sponsor. But yeah, I mean, hey, rough start for the Buffaloes, but here in the greater Atlanta area where I'm at, they're happy Tech won. The very few Tech fans there are here in the state, they're happy that Georgia Tech won. But Glenn, let's get your thoughts on the top 25, what you'd like, some of the big moves, obviously, and just kind of your thoughts after week 1. Do you feel like any team got screwed over, or do you feel like it was kind of fair?
Texas and Ohio State should have flipped. I agree. Also agree with Gonzo on the fact that Ohio State should have been number 1 to begin with. Having Texas at number 1 didn't seem to make any sense to me. But as far as the Ohio State and Penn State debate, Penn State should have moved up a little bit more. But at the same time, I know that a lot of the community is Ohio State marks. So I know that if it came down to a debate between them and another team, or let alone them and another team in their own division or conference, that 9 times out of 10, well, honestly, 10 times out of 10, Ohio State's going to get the benefit of that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But after week 1, the Buckeyes are back on top. Like a lot of people feel like they should have been to begin with, but nonetheless, took them 1 week off, and they're already back there. And for Jay, I know Jay's planning to be back tomorrow, so I know he's going to have a lot more thoughts on the Longhorns since he's not been able to voice his displeasure publicly about Arch Manning. We know about it in our private group chats. We're not going to say anything, because
He
we
was very
want
Yeah,
the authentic Jay
he's-
McLovin out there.
Arch Manning is going to Ball State, I guess. That's what-
But in short, it's just a preview. Arch Manning, in Jay's words, is now just a scrub and no good, and he's off the bandwagon, folks. I think we can all agree on that. He's jumped off the Arch Manning hype train.
I wouldn't want Jay to be my boss. For a company I work for, you have one rough day.
Yeah.
He turned your back on you and fire your ass. What Jay is, I would work for Jay if he's running.
Sorry, Chris, you had a bad sales day. Time to go back on intern duty. I need a coffee stat. Like, pretty much. But like I said, when he comes back tomorrow, you'll get the full 20-minute rant, and it will be glorious. It definitely will.
Are we sure it'll be 20 minutes? It'll probably be more like 30.
Well, whatever. How he's feeling that day depends on if he's got some sleep, if he's had some caffeine. We'll see. Now, one team we have not mentioned because they're not in the top 25. They might not get in the top 25, and that is the North Carolina Tar Heels, led by Bill Belichick. We mentioned that Alabama had a rough start. North Carolina might have had an even greater fall after 1 week. They lost to the TCU Horned Frogs. Final score in that one, 48-14. They lost at home also. This is a home game. You had every famous North Carolina celebrity there. Michael Jordan was there. I think Tom Brady was there. I mean, anyone and everyone was at this game. And boy, they just did not get it right. After the coin toss is when this game was over, basically.
Well, they got off to a great start. I mean,
a great start, yeah.
Yeah,
that was it.
That first touchdown, I mean, they ran down that field like it was nothing. I said, hey, man, this team might be okay. And then
that's all we got. That is all we got, though, Tony.
Well, he never completed another pass.
Probably to the fourth quarter.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was like, I think it said counting the halftime and everything, it was 2 hours where he completed his first pass to complete his next pass.
God, yeah, and that Gio Lopez, who did get banged up a little bit, I believe. He kind of hobbling off the field at one point. So they put in Max Johnson, who's been around the league, been around the NCAA for a couple of years, to try and get something. But, I mean,
Johnson played pretty good.
He did fine. A lot of people kind of unsure because Lopez was the starter. I think the reason Lopez got to start over Johnson, I think Johnson's going to end up being their starter. But Johnson had that broke his leg. He missed he broke his leg the first or opening weekend of college football last year. Yeah.
So he missed the whole season. Was coming back off that. So I think that's kind of why Lopez might have beat him out. But that offense looked a lot more in rhythm when Johnson was in there than it did when the other Gio was in there.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk more about that. And I mean, TCU put on them every which way. It was for offense they scored. It was on defense they scored. Special teams they wiped the floor with them in all major assets. O-line, D-line. I mean, it don't matter. TCU dominated this team upright center. Tony, I mean, just your thoughts on this one. Obviously, a lot of people have a lot of high hopes for North Carolina with obviously Coach Belichick, but he's not on the field. He can only give you the game plan and what he wants you to do. And the players have failed task one already.
Well, I watched a lot of the pregame, and I didn't know a lot about North Carolina. And, of course, I mean, I know Belichick coming in, but he had 70 brand new players that wasn't there last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then also there's only 2 players on that team that's even being considered that might be drafted in the draft. And they're not 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. They're guys that might be drafted 5th or 6th round. So you don't have a lot of talent, not yet. So if anybody that really thought he was going to go in there and turn this team around, they're going to win 9 or 10 games this year, after hearing all that, would be a fool. It's going to take. I mean, he's got to get players, and I'm not putting down the players he's got. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I mean, you got 70 brand new players. You're starting from scratch, and scratch can beat. So their chances of winning a lot of games this year. And I know TCU. I mean, they're 2 or 3 years removed from being in a national championship game.
Right.
Now, are they a top 25 team? Probably not, but they're probably a top 50 team. So I mean. it is tough for North Carolina, but one thing that I think Belichick's got, they're going to give him some time. They're going to give him 3 or 4 years to try to build this up. At least I think they will. So, but I didn't know what to expect. And then when they went down there and scored that touchdown, I said, man, it's unbelievable.
It's looking good. Yeah.
It didn't last long.
Yeah, that was a sense of false hope right there is what that was.
Yeah.
Hey, Big Glenn, what you think, man? Bill Belichick not off to a great start there with the UNC faithful.
I got a couple things about that.
Mhm.
Michael Jordan is so synonymous with winning. I'm sure he probably regretted going to the game last night, obviously. 'cause
He
you know how
probably
he is.
regretted that like he went to the Wizards those last couple of years. No one ever
Yeah.
talks about that run.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm sure his name regarding last night is not going to be mentioned ever again in that way. But how about Kirk Herbstreit's hot mic when he came back from break near the end of the game?
Oh, what did he
He
say?
said
I
he-
missed that one.
It like he was coming back from break and it was like I want to say it was late in the fourth. He's like, yeah, they're bad.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. There's one rule they always teach you in radio, television, whatever it may be. Always act like the mic is on because you never know if it is or it isn't. And I saw his dog was in the booth. I saw they put the headphones
Yeah.
on the dog.
I was
So
gonna
that
say,
lets you
that's
know
when
how
you know the
out
game
of
is
whack
bad.
this game went.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
when you know the game is bad when the dog is on the freaking mic. I mean,
Mhm.
think about it.
What you got, Chris?
I was just gonna say I think he well, I heard that, Glenn, but I just thought he had said it on purpose because some of the other comments they had made there in the fourth quarter when the game got out of hand, it kind of went off the rails a little bit. The broadcast did. And then like you guys said, the dog had a headset on. They got off the rails the last few minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Well, I got to see the dog on Saturday, right before the guy tried to make the kick for $250,000, which he made. But right
Oh,
before
yeah.
he
Yep.
right before he did that kick, the dog took a dump
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
field there, and then they all stepped in it when they was celebrating.
Oh.
Then
Well,
when they was
Yeah, he
celebrating, they all-
took a dump live on College Game Day.
yeah.
What a way to kick off the year.
Of course, McAfee wouldn't let it go. McAfee had to
Oh,
announce it. McAfee had to announce he took a dump. He had to announce that they all stepped in it. McAfee don't care.
No, he
Uh,
don't. And also, I think just real quick here, Chris. I think Lee Corso went perfect on his picks in his last game day, which
Yeah.
is just awesome. What a send off.
not
That's a
only did
legend
he go-
right there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he go perfect on his picks, all the teams that he used to coach for won,
Mhm.
and Florida State, the team he played for, won.
He picked Florida State over
He
Alabama.
did. He did. Boy, what
Yeah,
a send
all
off,
his
coach.
picks was right. All the teams he ever coached for won, and Florida State won. So he had a great send off. But no, my thoughts on North Carolina. I didn't think they'd be real good. Did I think they were going to get beat as bad as they got beat? I thought it'd be a little. I thought it'd be closer than that. But like Dad said, when you're bringing in that many new players, it's going to take you time. It's not like Bill Belichick went to Alabama
Mm-hmm.
or one of these other big schools where you would assume they have some talent there already. He went to North Carolina. They're a basketball school. They're not known for football. Like so,
Yeah.
anybody thought he was. And most of these players didn't have no spring ball. Most of those 70 players have only been there in North Carolina for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks and trying to get ready for this game. Like they didn't have the spring ball, the whole offseason like other teams did either. So I was like, I knew that they're a team that's going to get better as the season goes on. Or I should say more competitive. I don't see them being a top 25 team this year, but I do think they're going to look a lot different toward the end of the season than they do now because I think Belichick's that good of a coach, and I think he'll get them playing better. Not saying they're going to win a lot of games. My thing, they might only win 4 games this year, but that's not bad. That's not bad for your first year at North Carolina. Everybody's burying Belichick because of yesterday. How many games did Deion Sanders win his first year in Colorado?
Yeah.
4. He won 4 games, and everybody wanted to talk about how he rebuilt that program and everything. He won 4 games.
Everybody was watching those games
He
too.
didn't win his first game. He didn't win his first game that season against TCU. He beat TCU, but then he only won 3 more games after that. My thing is just it's Well, I think people are just overreacting. It's just one game.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. But when he took the job, I figured it was going to take him 2-3 seasons before he'd be able to have him maybe trying to compete for like the playoffs and the national championship. Just you're trying to build a program from scratch. So it's going to take you. It's going to take you some time to get your recruits in there and try to recruit some talent.
And he has no 4 or 5-star recruits. I mean, they have numbers.
Well, he didn't get the recruit. He got the job when basically all the recruiting was already done by the time he got that job. So he really didn't get to do the recruiting period this year.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's going to take a couple of years for them to get their recruits and stuff in there.
There's a lot of players on that team right now that won't be there in 2 years.
No.
There's a lot of them that on there right now might not be there next week.
That's true also. That's true.
One thing's for sure,
Bills.
Bills.
Get another 70 players out of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Try them.
One thing's for sure, we know Bill's girlfriend's not going anywhere.
No, she is not getting. She's not getting in the transfer portal yet. She is staying put there in Chapel Hill next to her hubby.
How many times did they show her last night on the broadcast?
I didn't watch it, so I can't say. I would say
bet
less
rival
than the normal
Taylor
Taylor
Swift.
Swift amount. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say less than that.
I know it was at least twice.
I believe twice. Yeah, twice. I believe for sure. It's probably a pregame and then a middle of the game. They're getting killed by 15.
I watched most of the game, but I was also talking. So once
it was on the background.
It started to be a blowout, it was more just on. We really wasn't paying that much attention to it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's not off to a great start for Alabama and for North Carolina to kind of wrap up the show here. Well, guys, we'll go ahead and bounce out here. Any final thoughts you got here before we dip out for the show today? We'll go with you, Chris. Anything else you want to get off the chest for our show tomorrow?
Well, hopefully the Reds can keep the win streak going and get another win tonight. We won our last 2. Yesterday, they about gave me a fucking heart attack.
Yeah, I bet.
What happened yesterday? I'm not up to date on the Reds. What happened yesterday?
We were up 2-1 almost the whole game. Then top of the ninth, our closer Pagan, who's been good, gives up back-to-back home runs. So then we're down 2 going into. Now we're down 4-2 going into the bottom of the ninth, and then TJ McClain, guy ahead of McClain gets on. McClain gets on, and Cabrian Hayes gets on, then McClain gets on. TJ Friedel hits a shot down right field line. One hop hits the fence, scores 2 runs. He gets a triple. They show the replay. The fucking ball stuck in the wall.
Oh,
so McClain had to go back to third. So now we're still down 1 run with 1 out. But then Marte ended up hitting a walk-off single, and Friedel was both runs scored, and we won the game. But yeah, it looked like we was going to blow the game, and the Mets won yesterday, so we couldn't afford to blow that game.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw the score when I was at the airport. I was like, man, this ain't good right now, you know?
I went for being mad and cussing and to jumping up and down, going crazy because it was a walk-off. So
just in that short of span, and also the Mets are going to be playing. Who are the Mets? I just
Tigers, I believe.
Yeah, they're in series with the Tigers, which that's a tough one. We know how good the Tigers are.
They had a comeback win. Mets come back won that game on the Tigers yesterday, and they were down. And I thought we was up, and they were down. I thought we was going to gain a game, which at least we didn't lose the game. So
yeah, we'll take that.
And Dad, did you see where the Reds didn't play Dela Cruz at shortstop on Sunday? They played him yesterday, but they DH'd him after he made the other error Saturday night. They DH'd him on Sunday and moved McClain to shortstop for a game.
Yeah, Francona said, nah, we ain't doing that no more.
They put him back in the lineup yesterday, but I think Francona going to make that leash a lot shorter after. Hell, he made 5 errors the last 6 games. He leads Major League Baseball in errors with like 23.
And that's tough to be as your shortstop.
They had to do something, but yeah, they benched him the last game of that Cardinal series. Not benched him, they just DH'd him. But yeah, they didn't play him.
They didn't put him in the field.
The good thing about Francona is he'll make the call. to do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
On tomorrow's show, guys, we'll plan on going over the AFC East.
Okay.
And then the next day we'll do the NFC.
But then hey, Thursday we're kicking off. Thursday's game
first
time.
game, yeah, Dallas and Philadelphia.
Got game Thursday, game Friday, and then Sunday.
Yep.
Fly, go
Fantasy
fly,
lineup.
and take Jerry Jones with you.
Yeah,
NFL,
what'd you say, Dad?
NFL on Friday?
Yeah, the Chiefs and somebody are playing in Brazil.
Okay, I did not realize
I
that.
can't remember who they play off the top of my head, but yeah, they play in Brazil on Friday.
The college schedule's pretty light this weekend. No real big
Yeah.
game. I think the biggest one might be Oklahoma and Michigan, I think.
I think
Yeah.
that's the only two ranked teams going at
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
Oh,
this
ranked
is definitely a cream puff week of just here.
Yeah.
Play these teams from 7 conferences over that just need some money.
Yeah.
Easy wins all around, and probably not going to
Yeah.
see a whole lot of a shakeup in the top 25 unless obviously something major happens.
Speaking of that, I think it's Ball State at Georgia. You talk about the
Well, good
Green
luck,
Bay.
boys.
Yeah. So another probably 70-0 game.
We will,
But Ball State gets a lot of money.
yeah, you get the money for the tuition and to help pay for the facilities. That's all you need. That's what you need sometimes. Also, Chris, the Friday matchup, it's a good one. It's going to be the Chiefs and the LA Chargers kicking it off 8:00. That's going to be on YouTube, by the way. So that's how you can
Go
check that out.
Chargers, go!
We'll see. Hey, we'll see. But
I knew it was
Chargers,
a good-
Chargers
I
got a lot
knew
of
it was
hope, lot of hope around them this year.
I knew it was a good game, but I couldn't remember the other team. But I knew it was a good game.
AFC West matchup to start the year for those two. But Tony, any final thoughts here before we wrap up?
No, ready to get out of here.
Yep. And all right, we'll get to it. And also, Big Glenn, anything you want to promote or anything you got coming up here you want to go off just before we end the show?
No. Let's go ahead and wrap this up so Tony can go do this thing.
All right, well, sounds good. Well, guys, Chris, Tony, Big Glenn, thank you guys for coming on today, talking, of course, all the sports from over the weekend. Of course, yesterday's Labor Day being off. And on the show, we'll be back again tomorrow, same time, 2:00 Eastern, here on the Elite Sports Entertainment Network. We will see you again tomorrow on the afternoon.